right, so I'm back again for an update on my family situation as far as being murdered. I did want to update that since it has changed and go through kind of the reasoning and thought processes as to why I believe that um, my family has no longer been completely murdered. Initially, when I was first targeted, they would say stuff like, "How does it feel having your seed wiped from the earth?" And me and my two sisters were not being able to have children now. My older sister's mind controlled technologically by the supercomputer to not want children with her husband, who also doesn't want children. I personally found out directly about supercomputer mind control, and so I don't want to have any children who have their mind controlled by a supercomputer. But after a lot of years of, well, let me see if I can there. After a lot of years of me going through it and saying thank you so much is what I would always say. Like, how does it feel having your seed wiped from the earth? And I would say thank you so much. No one in my family would ever want to have children who were robots controlled by a supercomputer. And that went on for 17 years, it turned out. But then finally, they must have agreed with me, is all I can figure, because they changed their stance and made my younger sister have two children. She now has a little boy and a little girl. And so that's what's been changed. I can only figure it's because I spent 15 years saying I don't want to be that. I don't want to have children who are controlled by supercomputers. I don't want to. I don't. And thank you so much for not making me be it, because I am thankful that I personally am in a very safe situation. I don't go out to social places and try to socialize or start a relationship to where I end up having children who are mind controlled by supercomputers or a supercomputer. And that's all. I did want to update that because in my first video, I talk about how my whole family has been technologically murdered. Now we're still alive, like I said, but that's changed. So now it's two more people to do the same reason why I've decided that I would never harm myself, is to continue to consume resources so that everyone who is stuck being mind controlled gets out of it a little sooner. Because it's something where I can't communicate to you, you are being mind controlled by a supercomputer. And the reason is because it's an absolute control over your brain. So, the only way that I can help you get out of it is by staying alive, to continue to consume resources where eventually everyone gets out of it once all the resources have been used up. Now, I am aware that of meteorite farming. Meteorite farming is one way to bring in additional resources, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know the specifics on meteorite farming, whether it's like fertilizers, probably fertilizers, and other potentials which can be added to the earth to increase the resources, in which case everyone will remain stuck controlled by supercomputer even longer. So that's why I wore my Funkle shirt today. I am a fun uncle now of a niece and a nephew, but the way I look at it is that's two more people to help continue to use up resources to help people get out of being controlled by a supercomputer in their brain. I didn't want to make it a really long video, but I did want to update. My reasoning behind it again is because I was so thankful. Thank you for getting my family out of this situation. Thank you for not making my family procreate as robots to a supercomputer. And I think that over time, the people doing this to me actually agreed with me, um, and decided to force my sister to exist because they're at least I can only be thankful now that they're not forcing me and my older sister to be the robots to a computer. Think that's it. Again, just so that everyone's aware, I have no weapons. I mean, there's knives in the kitchen, to be honest. I mean, if you really came down to it, but I have no intentions of being violent. Um, I have it all figured out, and I have the highest level of technological knowledge outside the cult of the Order of the Perfect and the Illuminati. So it's kind of a nice situation to be in. I don't feel special or gifted or anything, but I'm also not telling you like because I'll be telling you to die to not have children. But it's like in a historical reference, when a regime changed and regime took a new regime took over. Um, Oftentimes, when the new regime came in to the other people's environment and took over their, like when Rome conquered foreign nations, a lot of times those people would kill themselves as a way of avoiding being turned into slaves, treated horrifically, and um, mistreated and treated as second rate people. It's a similar situation with the Order of the Perfect and the Illuminati global regime that has taken over the earth within the past 100 years. They are now using supercomputers. They are now spreading viruses throughout the populations. They are now starving people in camps. They do have wars all over the place. Um, Murders happen left and right. Drugs are becoming rampant and legalized. Pretty much everything that a lot of negativity that I'm glad that I'm not going to be forced to have to be a part of the future of that. Um, because I'm simply making sure that I don't procreate by staying home, staying out of social situations, staying out of romantic relationships, not having intercourse or having intimacy with anyone. That way I can grow old and continue I can continue to assist in the resources, which for me, I run up about, I'd say $30,000 a month in medical expenses that are all paid for by the government. Those $30,000 are then taxed by the Federal Reserve, who loans the money to the government, and a large proportion of that money is then used by pharmaceutical companies, medical professionals, and everything else to then consume more and more resources, which, my prediction as to the end of the earth, which isn't going to be in any recent time, but the one way I look at it is the dinosaurs existed for 130 million years. I think that's a rough estimate, and people have been in control now for um, I think it's like 100,000 years, something like that, 200,000 years now, maybe. And um, will people make it to live as long as some dumb animals, as the dinosaurs did for 130 million years? I sincerely doubt that people will last that long at the rate of population increase, which is now close to 8 billion people. When initially on Earth, through my research, I discovered that there was 10 million people. So 10 million to 8 billion, the amount of resources consumed, where you could simply have a 2-to-2 child to parent ratio and maintain population levels at the population level increase, that the Earth, it's not a um, sustainable outcome. But I also don't believe that population decrease is the answer. I think it should just go until the stuff runs out, and then there'll be some final part at the end where mass population of people die, and then a small group of people will continue to exist for a short period of time, and then they'll die, and they'll have won the big game, and that's how it's been described to me by the Illuminati, by the secret royalty and Illuminati, is that they have underground homes that can sustain life for a period of time, which relative to the total period of time, to me, will be a short period of time. But so my family is no longer completely murdered. My younger sister does have 2 children now. Um, I have no intentions of having children. My older sister also doesn't want children because we are mind controlled that way. Um, so I think that's it. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any comments, questions, please leave them in the comment section below.